We begin the narrative in January 1968, where we meet a couple, Anna and Clive. Anna is gravely ill, not due to an illness, but because a malevolent entity has taken hold of her body, slowly draining her life away. Clive is desperate to save her and remains deeply distressed. One night, he takes Anna's ring to a hall to perform a ritual. Before starting, we are shown how the ritual works. Candles are lit around a blank canvas. All the paints are set out nearby, and a personal item belonging to the possessed person is placed in the center. Then the one performing the ritual chants the invocations, summoning the dark entity and commanding it to reveal itself by painting its own face on the canvas. Clive prepares everything and begins to recite the rituals. Immediately, the atmosphere changes. The paints start to lift on their own, spilling onto the canvas, and slowly, a painting begins to take shape. Terrified, Clive watches as the image takes form. It reveals a living female entity, unclothed within the painting itself. Suddenly, she bursts forth and attacks him. Meanwhile, Anna wakes up after hearing the chaos. But when Clive appears before her, he is no longer himself. The entity has taken control, maliciously grinning as it lunges toward Anna. The narrative then jumps 5 months ahead, to June 1968. We are introduced to Evelyn and her family, her husband Adam, her son Nelson, and her 2 daughters, Janice and little Lucy. Adam works as a carpenter, but business has not been going well lately, and although he seems to be a family man, there is another side to him. He secretly reads car magazines and has strange fantasies, hiding everything from Evelyn. Next we meet Janice, Evelyn's teenage daughter. She is temperamental, short-tempered, and constantly irritated with her younger sister Lucy. Despite the usual small family quarrels, life seems normal and happy until one day everything changes. Evelyn receives an official letter from the court. Her cousin Anna, the same Anna we saw at the beginning, has died, and in her will, Anna named Evelyn as the executor of her estate. This means that Evelyn and her family are entitled to a portion of Anna's property, as well as $10,000 as execution fees. However, Evelyn hesitates. She knows that something terrible happened to Anna in that house and fears bringing her family there. Adam, however, insists. Money is tight, and he pressures her to accept. Reluctantly, she agrees. Soon, the family arrives at Anna's mansion. Since Lucy is just a child, she will not help with the execution work, and Janice also refuses, leaving Evelyn, Adam, and their son Nelson to take care of everything. Simply put, being an executor means that Evelyn is legally responsible for the property, managing debts, selling possessions, and overseeing renovations. In short, she must represent the estate and its affairs. As they begin to organize the house, they notice numerous old portraits, paintings of Clive's ancestors. However, Evelyn discovers something unsettling: the painting of that same shirtless female entity we saw before. She becomes disturbed while Adam and Nelson watch it with curiosity. Evelyn wastes no time. She orders the painting to be taken to the attic and stored away. That night, as everyone prepares for bed, Adam tries to get intimate with Evelyn, but she refuses. Frustrated, he leaves and retreats to his magazines. Suddenly, he hears soft whispers and vaguely sees a naked female figure, but dismisses it, thinking it is just his imagination triggered by the magazines. Meanwhile, in her room, Janice notices a scary painting of a barber on the wall. She tries to remove it but cannot. Disturbed, she ends up going to bed. However, in the middle of the night, her hair begins to be cut strand by strand. The next morning, Janice wakes up furious at the sight and immediately blames Lucy. She storms into her room, shouting at her.
Stop it! Stop it!
Evelyn intervenes, asking Lucy to apologize, but the little girl firmly denies it. Later, Adam and Nelson go out to gather supplies while Evelyn starts to clean the house. Suddenly, she notices the woman from one of the paintings slightly moving. Shaken, she convinces herself that it is just her imagination and disregards it. Lucy, in the meantime, runs around the house. Evelyn follows her and sees the basement door mysteriously closing by itself. She calls for Lucy, but the girl is outside. Evelyn ventures inside and finds a closet that closes by itself. Upon opening it, she discovers Adam's hidden adult magazines. Hurt and enraged, she confronts him, but he responds by blaming her for refusing intimacy, suggesting he needed the magazines as an outlet. That night, everyone finally goes to sleep. Janice, still terrified by the barber painting, covers it before going to bed. But in the still of the night, the painting comes to life, and we see the barber's hands moving, cutting her hair again. Janice wakes up in terror and hides inside a closet. The cloth covering the scary painting begins to move on its own. The figure from the painting repeatedly emerges, reaching out toward her and cutting her hair. She screams, and the family rushes in to comfort her.
What's going on?
Janice insists that the man from the painting came out, that the painting was alive. Adam checks but finds no one there. He dismisses it as a bad nightmare and removes the painting from the room. Evelyn, however, tries to alert him. Something is terribly wrong in the mansion. There is an evil hidden inside these paintings, although even she does not fully comprehend its nature. Later, Adam hears the same whispers from before echoing through the house. Following the sounds, he arrives in the attic, feeling a presence, sees something in the background, and then loses consciousness. The next morning, Evelyn dreams of a mysterious woman who urges her to paint. The vision wakes her up in fright. Meanwhile, Adam regains consciousness and sees the same painting of the naked woman, with eyes glowing in the dark. He tilts a mirror to reflect sunlight onto it, and finally sees it clearly. Acting cautiously, he covers the painting and ties it to a chair with rope, determined not to let it escape. Later, when Evelyn asks where he spent the night, Adam insists he slept in the living room. Soon, Evelyn stumbles into the ritual room and finds the original book that was used for the summoning. Later that night, while everyone sleeps, Adam has other plans. He sneaks back up to the attic where he hid the painting. But the moment he discovers it, the ghostly art is exposed, and Evelyn immediately hears hurried footsteps through the house. She rushes out and finds a child running down the hall, going straight for the painting. The boy's voice echoes from within it. When she turns around again, the painting is blank once more, and the boy emerges, fleeing. Evelyn chases him down to the basement, where someone pushes her inside. Down there, she soon witnesses the female entity in the darkness. Meanwhile, Nelson wakes up and notices the colors of the paint from the paintings melting. As he approaches, one of the paintings reaches out, pulling him in. He fights violently until Adam arrives and drags him out. Soon after, Janice and Lucy also arrive on the scene, witnessing the chaos unfolding. The family desperately searches for Evelyn and finally finds her in the basement, terrified after having seen the female entity. By that point, everyone has gathered, and Evelyn decides it is best to leave the mansion and take her family back home. Once at home, they tend to each other's wounds, and gradually the tense relationships among them begin to heal. Even Janice and Lucy start to rebuild their bond. Despite the calm, Evelyn remains uneasy. She confesses to Adam, insisting that something was terribly wrong in that mansion. It felt like Clive had killed Anna and then committed suicide, but she senses that the truth is much more sinister. Evelyn then finds the old book, noting an address in it. Following the lead, she finds a woman who reveals a vast collection of paintings. She explains that in the past, when people died, their spirits often wandered. To contain them, spirits were imprisoned within paintings. But this practice had an unwanted consequence. Evil entities found a way to come and go from these works of art. She explains that this ritual in general was interrupted in the early 20th century. However, the family of Clive continued secretly, keeping their own dark secrets. Meanwhile, back at the house, Janice and Lucy are playing in the basement. When Janice steps away for a moment, the boy from the painting appears to Lucy and lures her to follow him. As she does, he suddenly grabs her, trying to drag her away. Lucy screams, and Janice rushes back just in time to save her. While investigating, Janice discovers the same scary painting of the naked woman from the mansion. She shows it to the others, and Adam examines it closely. Mysteriously, the entity has followed them back to their home. Desperate to discover the truth about Clive's family and the demons trapped in the paintings, Adam heads to the library to research both demonology and the dark history of Clive's lineage. That night, Adam tries to destroy the painting by burning it, but Evelyn catches him and warns that this won't work. She explains that once these entities cling to someone, location doesn't matter, for they will always find their way back to the target. The story then dives into the dark history of the family. Clive's great-grandfather met a woman named Cassandra. It is revealed that Cassandra used to come and go from the house regularly until one day she was murdered. After that, deaths and disappearances began to plague the family. Later, the family's great-grandfather and his wife were burned alive in a house, and a new mansion was built at that same site. Family members developed an obsession with being immortalized in paintings. They would trap their own spirits within the artwork, allowing their souls to move between the physical world and the spiritual realm. As we have seen throughout the story, Evelyn realizes that Cassandra was also painted, her spirit trapped, and that now they need to return her to her own world. For this, they require a special item that belongs to her, and Evelyn claims to know exactly where it can be found. Adam and Evelyn return to the mansion, instructing the children to stay safe inside the house. Meanwhile, as Nelson sleeps, Cassandra's spirit recreates herself back into a painting in his room. When he wakes up, he is no longer himself. The spirit has possessed him. Guided by a dark force, Nelson heads to Lucy's room, where she sleeps next to Janice. He lifts her into his arms and carries her away. Janice stirs and senses that something is wrong, rushing after him. But before she can reach them, Nelson drags Lucy into the basement and locks the door behind him. At the same time, Adam and Evelyn arrive at the mansion. Knowing that the paintings are cursed, they decide to destroy them all. As Adam transports the paintings outside to burn them, Evelyn searches for more throughout the mansion and discovers a hidden room. Inside, she finds numerous paintings of eerie landscapes along with a chest and a key on the floor. Inside the chest, she finds a pile of love letters exchanged between Cassandra and Clive's great-grandfather, Ivor. Beside them is Cassandra's locket, the same locket Evelyn has been seeing in her dreams. Adam returns to collect the remaining paintings, only to realize that the figures inside them have disappeared. At that very instant, the same figures manifest within the secret room, and Evelyn notices movement behind her. They surround her and begin to attack. Adam, for his part, is ambushed by the portrait of Ivor. He fights desperately and manages to free himself. Running through the mansion, he follows the muffled screams of Evelyn until he discovers her trapped in the walls. He pulls her out just in time to prevent the entities from finishing her off. Together, they run outside and burn all the last paintings, finally weakening the spirits and ending the immediate threat. On the way back home, Evelyn reveals what she has learned. Ivor was a painter who discovered a way to capture human souls on canvas. When he met Cassandra, they fell deeply in love and secretly planned to get married. But tragedy struck. Cassandra fell gravely ill and died. Consumed by grief, Ivor vowed to evoke her spirit in a painting so they could reunite after death. He intended to join her in the afterlife. But when he failed to finish his own life, Cassandra felt betrayed. She never forgave him. Over time, Cassandra's spirit was consumed by rage. Eventually, she managed to merge with a malevolent entity, termed a succubus. For those who do not know, a succubus is a female demon from folklore, a dream predator that seduces men, leading them to pleasure before draining their life energy. From that point onward, Clive's lineage was cursed. Cassandra, now a succubus, possessed the husbands of the family and caused the deaths of their wives by their own hands. Adam confesses that the succubus had also tried to possess him. When he tries to speak, they arrive home. He hesitates, wanting to tell Evelyn something important. But before he can, Janice bursts in with urgent news about Lucy, and everyone rushes inside. Nelson, now completely possessed, attacks Lucy, but Adam arrives just in time. He knocks Nelson down and locks him in the basement. Evelyn quickly takes the girls to her car and tells Janice to take Lucy somewhere safe. In the chaos, she hands Adam the cloth from which the succubus emerged. Determined, they prepare a ritual to destroy her. The doors are locked, and they gather all the essential items: candles, cloths, the ritual book, paints, and Cassandra's locket. But Nelson escapes, destroying the power distributor and plunging the house into darkness. By the light of flickering candles, Adam and Evelyn discover the cloth, now bearing the painting of Cassandra, and begin the summoning, calling Ivor the origin of the curse, the one Cassandra truly desired. However, his spirit refuses to appear. Confused, Evelyn recalls reading in the ritual book. Ivor cannot come without a sacrifice, she explains. Adam steps forward, removes his shirt, and grabs a knife. Then he reveals a secret he has kept for a long time. The naked woman they saw in the attic was not just a spirit, it was Cassandra. That night, while Evelyn slept, Adam returned to the attic and found her naked. Overpowered by desire, he gave in. Frustrated by Evelyn's refusals, he had always relied on magazines to provide relief, a weakness that the succubus had noticed, making him her perfect target. Consumed by guilt, Adam harms himself to complete the ritual. Evelyn, in shock and with tears in her eyes, struggles to make sense of the horrific scene. Meanwhile, Nelson, still possessed, bangs on the door, trying to get in. With a broken heart, Evelyn summons Adam's spirit to the painting, believing that Cassandra needs a companion, a partner in love. Adam's spirit appears next to Cassandra, his sacrifice connecting him to the painting, allowing them to coexist in peace. But Nelson finally bursts through the door, attacking Evelyn, still under the enduring influence of the succubus. Then Janice returns and tries to protect Evelyn, but Nelson pushes her aside. Spotting a lighter, Janice makes a desperate move. She throws it onto the painting. The section containing Cassandra catches fire and burns, and with that, the succubus disappears. Nelson is finally freed from the possession. Little Lucy runs to the room, and the family reunites. In the final scene, Adam's spirit can be seen at peace among the collection of paintings owned by the collector. Cassandra, however, did not return, and her bond with this world has been severed.